So if you've been watching these videos in order, you might notice that this is a different layout, couple of different images. Something I forgot to mention to you guys that I wanted to bring to your attention, and this has to do with altering some of the images because maybe there's not as much of a variation in color and texture as you would want, but you really want those pictures. So I felt like I needed to bring this up because there might be some issues with that. First of all, it's okay, and I think I said this in the other video, if the pictures cover up most of the background, because the background here is it's just fill. It's just something besides just a white background here. So it's okay to cover everything up. It actually looks really good when everything is kind of overlapping one another. But let's address these two images, this cruise ship and this beach. So they're very, very similar together, and then they're also very similar to the background. So there's not that much variation, not like with the softball and the camping thing, or even the barbecue for that matter. There's just a lot of blues and greens. So what we can do with one of these images is that we can change the color of it, or we can apply a filter. You can see on this bicycle here, this bicycle used to be just a very dark muted green color, and so I put a really vibrant filter on it. So we can do that to one of these images. Let's say we're going to do it to the beach. So you want to make sure that you are on layer 7. And you also want to make sure that these colors here in your foreground and background are colors that are something that you're interested in. So actually I'm thinking this one might be a little too much like the softball color. So I'm just going to go with something really pretty different. Okay. So I'm going to work with this pink and this orange color. So I can go ahead and go to filter. I can go to the filter gallery, and then it gives you a little preview of what the image is going to look like. So you can certainly click on something to use something a little different. Let's go to brush strokes. Click around, find something. All right. So even though it doesn't look so much like the beach anymore, visually it's just something pretty different. So we're going to leave it like that. Now, as I reviewed the last class or the last video, we have to cut out all of this leftover stuff. So we're going to go to the background, layer 2. We'll go with the magic wand tool. Oh, yeah, there you are. And it selects all the outside. And then we go to each of the images and we click on delete, and it trims everybody up. We are now going to merge all the layers together. And so this is our wedge. The next part is going to show you how to put this onto our template. And it looks like a cross. And then we're going to put the mandala together. The template, you should have been able to get this off of Google Classroom and save it in your graphic design folder. So this is your template. This is where all your wedges are going to go. So I'm going to bring this out here. And so I'm going to drag my first one over using the move tool. You drag it in place. Now I know that I mentioned a long time ago that if you didn't need to rotate this wedge when you were putting it on the background, that it would be beneficial if you did not rotate it, for example, like this. So, and the reason is it's already set to be sitting on this line right here, which is what we want to do. So if you do have it rotated, there are ways. Let me just rotate it. There are ways that you can certainly rotate it so it lines up perfectly on this horizontal line. And it honestly does not matter whether we rotate it so it fits into this quadrant or if it fits into this quadrant. So, but basically we either want this line or this line to be perfectly horizontal. So that's what we're going to be working with. So when we rotate this, you can do this manually and just try to line it up. I suggest that you zoom in to this area right here so you can really see what you're doing. Really get, ooh, not that much. You can really get a good idea of what this line looks like. And it really doesn't matter if it's the right size or whatever. We literally just want this to line up perfectly. So I just want to show you something here, that if you start this rotation and you want to do it in tiny little increments like this, there's actually a way you can do this by not even using your mouse. What you can do is you can go to this angle right here. This is where the measurements are. Looks like a little angle. And you can highlight this number. And then with your keyboard, you have arrows that go up and down to the left and the right. If you hit the arrow up, you're going to notice in little hundredths of a degree, it's slowly rotating it. So you can even do it this way. You can kind of nudge it. I'm holding it down until it looks like it's pretty even. So it might take a little bit of doing, but basically you want this to sit perfectly on that line, which it does. So after we make sure that it's perfectly horizontal, then we're going to go ahead and flatten this out. Now be aware, you do not want to change the angle. You want to keep this in proper proportion. You also want it to be pretty big on this picture. So you want the point to be right on that middle of this quadrant. Right there, right in the middle of this axis, I guess. I'm going to stop this video right here. In the next video, I'm going to show you how you can put this whole radial design together.